Hello, this is Chris, and welcome back to another reaction video. Game of Thrones is almost back, and I'm back. This feels very weird jumping on one of these again. It's been a long while since I've done a reaction video. I've taken like a little bit of a hiatus, I guess you could say. I've missed a whole bunch of trailers that have come out, going all the way back to like the Super Bowl halftime. I still need to catch up on those ones. A bunch of trailers that have come afterwards. I guess with Oscar season being what it is, it was very demanding. I was having to watch a lot of movies, put out a lot of reviews, that sadly the reaction videos kind of fell to the wayside, and with the sheer amount of trailers that I now have to catch up on, it was very daunting. However, there was one trailer that came out earlier today, which is currently on 4.5 million views on YouTube, and it's one that everyone on my Facebook is asking me about. They want my opinions on, and I couldn't, in good consciousness, go and watch that trailer without doing a reaction for you guys. So this is kickstarting a brand new wave of reaction videos. I'm going to be trying to release one every day if I can, catching up on the trailers that I've missed. But this is the big one, folks. This is Game of Thrones Season 8 official trailer. Now, I did a reaction video to the previous teaser that came out. I think it was the Crypts of Winterfell trailer. It was very much more of a teaser, very cryptic, no relation to the title. And yeah, it was more sort of like a metaphor that, you know, winter was coming. Finally, after 8 seasons, winter is finally here, folks. And it was just sort of like telling us like this encroaching evil is approaching the characters that we all like the Starks, for example. But I've heard this is the trailer that really shows it all. This is going to show us all the action. I've heard rumours that in episode 3, the Battle of Winterfell, the battle is the biggest ever battle in film history, I've heard. I don't know if that's... I think they're just kind of like blowing hyperbole into that a little bit. But they've said it's going to rival Helm's Deep from Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers in terms of length anyway. In my opinion, I don't think anything's going to top a cinematic opus such as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But definitely for the smaller screen for TV, what Game of Thrones has achieved is incredible. And I'm really hoping that this series is good. I'm hoping that this series answers all of the burning questions we have, such as who will end up on the throne at the end? Will it end in a good way or a bad way? And why was Season 7 so bad? But with all that being said, we're going to watch this trailer together now. I'm dying to see this trailer. I've heard that it's goosebumps inducing, and I really hope that's the case, because I love me some fantasy, and I love me some Game of Thrones when it's well written. So with all that being said, I'm going to click play now. Why is Game of Thrones always so dark? Like, Jesus. Like, I'm struggling to see this shit.
I know death. He's got many faces. I look forward to seeing this one.
After what happened in Season 7, Arya is now my least favourite character.
Everything you
Greyjoys.
brought you where you are now. Where you belong.
Oh, there's my future wife, Lena Headey. I love that woman. I go to the ends of the earth for that woman.
They're coming. Our enemy doesn't tire. Doesn't stop. Doesn't feel.
Oh, wow.
I promise to fight for the living. I intend to keep that promise.
I wonder if he's talking to Cersei there, Jaime Lannister. God, it's so dark. Shit. Sup, motherfucker? Wait, was that a White Walker on the horse at the end? I'm guessing it was, with how the trailer was put together. Didn't he upgrade to a dragon? I don't know, it kind of seems like it's almost like the ring wraiths in Lord of the Rings, right? You have them starting on horses and then they upgrade, they upscale to the fell beasts. This seems like, you know, they were on horses, they upgraded to the dragon, and now they've regressed back to the horse. Very weird. I'm sure they're going to explain that. Maybe that's just one White Walker on its own and not particularly the Night's King. Yeah, I don't know. I was expecting a little more from this trailer. I really want to see the battle, and we do see get some, like, you know, little quick action shots here and there. It looked like I couldn't really tell because the trailer was so visually dark. When I say dark, I know that Game of Thrones is dark in subject matter, but I meant visually. Like, the last couple of seasons have been really bad in that regard. Like, you have to, like, crank your brightness all the way up on the TV. No, I mean, it's all of the characters. This is it. This is all coming to a head now. With a show like this and sort of how this season has been set up, following the previous one, this seems like it's just going to be action beginning to end. And I know that this season's shorter than the previous one. Season 7 was the shortest season of Game of Thrones so far. I think it was it like 6 episodes? I think 6 or 7 episodes, something like that. I believe this one is 5. I might be wrong about that, but I know that they're going to be longer episodes. And judging by the sheer volume of characters that they have and, like, the different landscapes and everything and everyone vying for the throne, I'm guessing in this one you're going to have, you know, battles in the air, sea and the land, essentially. You know, you're going to have your dragon fights in the air, you're going to have your land troops, and then you've got the sea as well with the Greyjoys. And I need to give my boys the Greyjoys a shout out. I absolutely love House Greyjoy. Next to House Lannister and House Stark, they're probably my favourite house, especially in the books. You know, they've been handled okay in the TV series. They did kind of have a leave of absence for a good amount of series before we finally got back to them. I think it was season 6 we finally got some Greyjoy action, so it was a long span of time. As is always the case, it's done much better in the books. You get to know the characters a lot more. There's even more Greyjoys. Yes, you have Euron, but you also have Aeron, and you have Victarion as well. And that stuff's great in the books, and they've kind of translated that. I think they've just made it more simpler for the TV show, cut out sort of like the extra character baggage. And, you know, we're still waiting on book 6 and 7, so I don't know, because the show has streamlined it and sort of got rid of the character bloat. You know, when we started seeing that with the Dornish storyline, and I'm not even going to get started on the Dornish storyline. That could be a video rant on its own. But that makes me worried for book 6 and 7. If the books are going in the same direction, or ultimately the same goal, does that mean that all of these characters that they've got rid of in the TV show aren't really going to amount to anything in the books, which seems very pointless? I don't know if we'll ever see... I don't know if the end's in sight when it comes to the books. I don't know if we are ever going to get those books. And, you know, once it's all said and done with the TV show, yes, the TV show's done its own thing and has moved away from the books, and in my opinion has become almost a fan fiction of itself in some storylines that feel very easy and not very well developed and not very well written. But once, you know, I see who's on the throne or who isn't on the throne and how it all plays out, will I even care about book 6 and 7 when they come out? If it's going to be like another 5 to 10 years before the books are all said and done, maybe even more, will I really care about Game of Thrones in, you know, 15 years' time? Not to mention that we've also got 5 prequel series coming out as well. The Longest Night, I believe, is the unofficial name that's been thrown around on Twitter by George R.R. Martin, starring Naomi Watts. And that's going to be the first of many spin-off series of Game of Thrones. They've got to keep that Game of Thrones money coming in somehow. And also we've got Amazon's Lord of the Rings TV series coming out as well, which is I believe it's the highest budgeted TV show of all time at $1 billion. $1 billion. But, no, and I mean, like, Game of Thrones really has sort of showed the limits of what, you know, or at least started to show the limits of what can be done with fantasy TV. It is groundbreaking in that regard. Yes, you've had some poor seasons along the way, such as season 7 and season 5. Some writing choices and changes from the books are very, very questionable. But in terms of, if you look at season 1 of Game of Thrones, which was very humble, it's actually my favourite season of Game of Thrones, season 1. It's the one closest to the book anyway. But the limitations they had... they really had to utilize what they could. We didn't get the battle scene like the book. They had to, like, skip over that, kind of like how The Hobbit does in the book, where, you know, a character gets knocked out, wakes up, and the battle's all been said and done. And now, look at it now. We've seen a fraction of what's going to be in this season. I hope it's well developed. I hope it's a good end to the story. So often the case with TV shows, the endings always tend to be very underwhelming, and I really hope that's not the case with this one. And yeah, I want things to progress at a more natural pace this season, I guess, is sort of like my end thoughts on this, is that season 7 sort of breezed through it. Characters got from one edge of the map to the other in like half a day, which is just not doable. Nothing felt really earned, and nothing felt like any kind of passage of time moved between stuff happening. And I think that was because they shortened the season down, and it was kind of like a mad relay race to get to the final season. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, Lena Headey, my girl, Cersei Lannister, my future wife. She's great, like, in everything, and I know that she's gonna die in this season. Like, I can pretty much, like, of course she's gonna die. She's the bad guy in it. And that's interesting, though, because Game of Thrones kind of started out as this thing, obviously, when it was following the books, and George R. R. Martin's a big proponent of this, where he goes against the grain. Like, he doesn't follow particular tropes. He will kill off characters, as anyone will know if you've seen Game of Thrones. He will kill off beloved characters, and characters that in any other kind of fantasy, novel or film would live through to the end and be triumphant and triumph over evil. He doesn't do that. He's like, no, people will die anticlimactically, or when they least expect it, because he's trying to base it in like a real world with stakes. And if you keep doing that and you keep subverting people's expectations, stuff like that can get very old. But I'm wondering if and we started to see this with season 7, where you're expecting characters to die, like Tormund on the wall at the end, for example, or even when they go beyond the wall, or Bronn when he's fighting the dragon. And moments like that I think would have been stronger had they have killed off more characters, but everyone felt like they had plot armor on. And I'm just worried going into this season if it's going to be a case of, we kill all the baddies, but all the goodies live, and Jon Snow and Daenerys live happily ever after in their castle in Winterfell. Or King's Landing, because he'll get the throne, and it'll be like the ending of Lord of the Rings, where Aragorn marries Arwen, despite the fact, well, actually, if you read into the lore, Aragorn is related to Arwen, so I guess that's kind of the same with Jon Snow and Daenerys, right? I don't want it to be an ending like that. I want it to have some kind of bite to the ending. Not to say that it can't be a good, triumphs over evil, because if it ended where, like, the White Walkers, who are kind of this faceless undead force with little to no motivation other than they want to kind of, like, conquer the world, you won't get an ending where they take over and it's just like frozen tundra. At least I really hope we don't. So obviously, like, I'm okay with the good guys winning, but I just want it to have stakes. I want there to be loss. I want there to be consequences during this final season. So I've rambled enough on this. I guess this is as good a time as any to say that we will be back with Game of Thrones reviews when the season comes out. I missed the date as to when it was. Was it April? Does it say in this trailer? April 14th. So we'll be back with our weekly review shows of Game of Thrones once it comes out. We're not all that far away from it. In the meantime, as I said, I'm finally back with reactions. I've had a well-deserved break. And I'm going to tackle these trailers head on, all the ones that I've missed, and be getting those out to you in the next couple of days and or weeks. And movie reviews. We've got our Captain Marvel review this weekend, and we're already into March, into 2019, so the movies are going to be coming thick and fast. In the next couple of months, we're going to be entering summer season again. So please do hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and I promise we're going to be much more active now that Oscars are out the way and I've had a little bit of a break. We're going to hit 2019 hard. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to comment as well. Let me know your theories for Season 8, what you've thought of the previous seasons of Game of Thrones, how you think it's going to all end, what you thought to this trailer, anything Game of Thrones related at all, please do let me know. And until the next video, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.